the broadcast that should have stayed silent. I still remember the exact moment I realized something was deeply, fundamentally wrong with station 47.9 FM. It was 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday in March, and I was sitting alone in the control booth of our college radio station, headphones pressed against my ears, watching the old analog equipment hum and click in the dim red light. I'd volunteered for the graveyard shift because I needed the extra credit, and honestly, I enjoyed the solitude. There's something peaceful about being the only voice broadcasting into the darkness, knowing that maybe a handful of insomniacs and night shift workers are out there listening. But that night, peace was the last thing I'd find. The station had been experiencing interference for about a week. Nothing major at first, just occasional static bursts, maybe a second or two of dead air that I'd attributed to our aging equipment. Our station manager, Derek, had mentioned it during the last staff meeting, joking that the building was probably haunted. We'd all laughed. The communications building was old, built in 1967, and had that vintage institutional feel with its cinder block walls and linoleum floors that had been buffed to a dull shine by decades of foot traffic. I was playing a late-night indie set, something mellow to ease the few listeners we had into the small hours. I just finished introducing a song by The National when the interference started again. This time, it wasn't just static. Through my headphones, underneath the music, I heard something else. A voice, faint, distorted, but definitely human. My hand hovered over the mixing board, fingers twitching toward the crossfader. The voice was speaking, but I couldn't make out the words over the music. I quickly faded out the song, my heart starting to pound with a mixture of curiosity and annoyance. Someone was probably broadcasting on our frequency from somewhere nearby. It happened sometimes with amateur radio enthusiasts who didn't check their equipment properly. "This is WKRU, 89.3 FM, I said into the microphone, my voice steady and professional despite the weird flutter in my stomach. "If someone's experiencing technical difficulties, you're bleeding onto our frequency. Please check your equipment." For a moment, there was only the gentle hiss of the open channel. Then the voice came back, clearer this time. It was a man's voice, calm and measured, with an odd quality I couldn't quite place, almost like he was speaking from the bottom of a well. Day 47 of the broadcast, the message must continue. They're not listening yet, but they will. They always do eventually. I sat up straighter, my hand instinctively reaching for the phone to call Derek. This wasn't just interference. Someone was deliberately transmitting, and they were doing it on our exact frequency. But before I could dial, the voice continued, and what he said next made my blood run cold. "Station engineer will hear this first. Female, alone, wearing blue headphones, 3rd floor, northwest corner of the building." My eyes darted to the large windows of the control booth. I was indeed on the 3rd floor, northwest corner. And yes, I was wearing my blue Audio-Technica headphones, the ones I'd bought specifically for these late-night shifts. My mouth went dry. I slowly stood up, phone clutched in my hand, and moved away from the windows. How could someone know these details? Was someone watching the building? The voice on the frequency kept talking, unfazed by my growing terror. "Don't be afraid. Fear is counterproductive. I'm not there with you. I'm nowhere near you. I'm speaking from station 47.9, and I've been speaking for a very, very long time." "Who are you?" I said into the mic, knowing it was useless, knowing that this was probably a one-way broadcast. But I was wrong. "Finally," the voice said, and I could swear I heard satisfaction in it. "Finally, someone asks the right question. I'm Marcus Webb. I was a broadcast engineer just like you're learning to be. I worked at the original station that operated on this frequency. That was in 1982, and I made a terrible mistake. I should have hung up. I should have called campus security, called Derek, called anyone. Instead, I found myself sinking back into my chair, the phone forgotten on the desk beside me. "What mistake?" I whispered. The voice, Marcus, if that was really his name, seemed to sigh, a sound like wind through empty corridors. "We were experimenting with signal strength, trying to boost our range. We wanted to be heard farther, reach more people. But we pushed too hard, tuned to the wrong frequency, aligned our equipment in a configuration that the manuals specifically warned against. We opened something. a channel that wasn't meant to be opened. "That's not possible," I said, but my voice lacked conviction. The equipment around me suddenly seemed less familiar, more menacing in the red glow of the control lights. "I thought the same thing," Marcus replied. "Right up until the moment I realized I couldn't leave the broadcast. It's been 47 days since I started this recording. 47 days of continuous transmission. But here's the thing, to the outside world, to the timestamp on my equipment, it's been 43 years. Time works differently on station 47.9. I felt my hands beginning to tremble. This had to be a prank. Some elaborate setup by the other station volunteers trying to scare the new girl. But how would they have known what I was wearing? How could they have been watching me without my knowledge? "I need you to listen very carefully," Marcus said, his voice taking on an urgent tone. "Station 47.9 isn't just a frequency, it's a trap. And every 7 years it reaches out looking for someone new. Someone who will make the same mistakes I did. I can feel it happening right now, through our connection. It's learning about your station, your equipment, your transmission signature." "Why are you telling me this?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Because maybe you can prevent what happened to me from happening to you. In 1982, I was alone in a control booth, just like you are now. I heard interference. I investigated. And then I tried to trace the source. Don't do what I did. Don't try to triangulate the signal. Don't attempt to boost your receivers to hear me more clearly. And whatever you do, don't transmit on 47.9 FM. I looked down at the mixing board in front of me, at the array of dials and sliders that I'd been training on for months. The frequency dial sat in the middle, currently set to our station's 89.3. All it would take was a simple adjustment to reach 47.9. My hand moved toward it almost unconsciously. "No," Marcus's voice cracked through the speakers with such force that I jumped back. "I can feel your intention through the signal. It's already starting. The station wants you to tune in. It's whispering to you, isn't it? Telling you that you need to verify my story, that you need to hear more clearly." He was right. I could feel it, a compulsion growing stronger by the second to just turn that dial, to see for myself what station 47.9 really was. It would take only a moment, just a quick check, and then I could return to the normal frequency. What harm could it do? "That's exactly what I thought," Marcus said, as if reading my mind. Maybe he could. Maybe that was part of how this frequency worked. I told myself it would just be for a moment, but the moment I tuned to 47.9, everything changed. The equipment locked. The frequency wouldn't shift, and I started broadcasting into the void, unable to stop, unable to leave, trapped in a single moment that somehow lasted 43 years. I forced myself to step back from the control board, wrapping my arms around myself. "This can't be real. You're some kind of recording or a streaming prank, or—" "On your desk," Marcus interrupted. "Left side next to your physics textbook. There's a coffee mug, white ceramic with a chip on the rim. It has a cartoon of Schrödinger's cat on it, and you filled it at 11:47 p.m. from the vending machine on the second floor. The coffee was burnt. You added 3 sugars to make it palatable." My eyes slowly tracked to the mug. Every detail was correct. Even the burn quality of the coffee, which I hadn't mentioned to anyone. "How?" I breathed. "Station 47.9 exists outside normal space," Marcus explained. "Once you're connected to it, even just by hearing its transmission, it can sense you. See through your eyes in a way. Right now, I'm not just broadcasting to you. I'm here with you, in a sense. Trapped in the signal, but present in every receiver that picks up this frequency." A horrible thought occurred to me. If you've been broadcasting for 47 days, for 43 years, how many others have heard you? The silence that followed was answer enough. "They all tried to help," Marcus finally said. "Every single one. They heard my story, felt compassion, wanted to free me, and every single one made the same mistake. They tuned to 47.9, thinking they could understand better, thinking they could find a way to shut it down or rescue me. Station 47.9 doesn't collect everyone who hears about it, just the ones who can't resist investigating further." "So what do I do?" I asked, adding how small my voice sounded. "You forget," Marcus said simply. You end this shift, you go home, and you never think about station 47.9 again. Don't research it. Don't try to verify my story. Don't look up broadcast records from 1982. Every thread you pull leads back to the same place, that frequency. It's patient. It can wait years for you to give in to curiosity. I nodded even though he couldn't see me. Or could he? I wasn't sure anymore. Okay, I can do that. I'll forget. Will you? Marcus asked, and there was something infinitely sad in his voice. I wonder, because I can already feel it working on you. The seed is planted. You'll try to forget, but late at night you'll wonder. You'll question whether this was real. And eventually, maybe in a week, maybe in a year, you'll decide to just check. Just once. Just to prove to yourself that it was all a weird dream or an elaborate prank. No, I said firmly. I won't, I believe you. The last person who heard me said the exact same thing, Marcus replied. That was 3 years ago. She was an engineering student too. Bright future ahead of her. She lasted 6 months before she came back to the station late one night and tuned to 47.9. Now she's here too, broadcasting from her own moment in time, trying to warn the next person. There's more than just you. Station 47.9 is crowded, Marcus said. Dozens of us, maybe hundreds, all broadcasting our warnings into the void, all hoping that maybe the next person will be the one who actually listens. But the station is clever. It uses our warnings as part of the trap. The more you hear, the more you want to know, the more you want to save us, and that's how it gets you. I looked at the clock on the wall. 3:15 a.m. My shift ended at 6:00. 2 hours and 45 minutes felt like an eternity. If I can just make it until morning. Time is strange around 47.9, Marcus warned. Watch your clock. Make sure it keeps moving forward. Sometimes when the station is close, time loops. You might find yourself living the same hour over and over without realizing it. I stared at the clock, watching the second hand tick steadily forward. 3, 15 and 20 seconds, 21 seconds, 22. Normal, everything was normal. I just needed to stay calm, finish my shift, and never come back to the station at night. Simple. I'm going to sign off now, I said, reaching for the microphone switch. I'm going to play music for the rest of my shift. Continuous music, no more talking. That's good, Marcus said. That's smart, but before you go, I need to tell you one more thing. I paused, my finger hovering over the switch. Every instinct screamed at me to cut him off, to end this conversation immediately. But I couldn't. I had to know. What? The interference you've been experiencing for the past week, Marcus said slowly. That wasn't random. Station 47.9 has been testing your frequency, probing your equipment, learning your broadcast patterns. Tonight wasn't the first time we've connected. It's just the first time the signal was strong enough for you to hear me clearly. Which means what? I demanded, my fear transforming into anger. Just say it. Which means you've already been connected to station 47.9 for 7 days. And I'm not entirely sure you can disconnect anymore. The lights in the control booth flickered. Just for a second, but enough to make my heart stop. When they came back on, I noticed something I hadn't seen before. The frequency dial on the main transmitter, the one I hadn't touched all night, was slowly drifting, moving from 89.3 toward... No. Marcus, I said, my voice cracking. Marcus, I'm not touching anything. I swear I'm not touching the equipment, but it's moving on its own. I know, he said, and for the first time, he sounded genuinely sorry. I'm so sorry. I tried to warn you in time, but I think you've been on 47.9 longer than either of us realized. I lunged for the frequency dial, trying to turn it back, but my hand passed through it like it wasn't there. Or like I wasn't there. The numbers continued their inexorable drift. 87, 185.6, 79.3. Fight it, Marcus urged. I know you can't touch the equipment, but you can still disconnect. Pull the power, smash something, break the connection physically. I grabbed the nearest thing, my coffee mug, and hurled it at the main transmitter. The mug passed through the equipment like it was a hologram, like I was a hologram. No, I chanted, backing away from the control board. This couldn't be happening. I was real. I was solid. I had weight and mass and presence. But when I looked down at my hands, they seemed translucent, fatting. The frequency dial settled on 47.9 with an audible click that seemed to echo through dimensions. "Welcome to station 47.9, said a new voice. Not Marcus, someone else, a woman. "Please state your name and the date for the record." I looked around frantically. The control booth looked the same but different. Older, dust-covered surfaces that had been clean moments before. The clock on the wall had stopped at 3:17 a.m. When is this? "That's not important anymore," the woman's voice said kindly. Too kindly. "Time works differently here. You'll get used to it. We all did. Now please state your name and the date for the record. It's important that we document every new arrival." "This isn't real," I whispered. "I'm still in the booth. I'm still on 89.3. I just need to wake up or—" "My name is Jennifer Chen," the woman interrupted. "I was a broadcast journalism student in 2018. I lasted 4 months before I came back to check on Marcus's story. That's how long you might have. Or maybe you'll be stronger. Maybe you'll last years before the curiosity overwhelms you. But here's the thing, you're not arriving at station 47.9. You already did. The moment you heard Marcus's voice, the moment you engaged with the signal. What you think is your present, your real life, that's just the echo, the memory, the ghost." "But I can stop this," I said desperately. "I can choose not to tune to 47.9. I can walk away right now." "Can you?" Jennifer asked. "Then why are you still here? Why haven't you left the booth? Check your phone, look at the time." I grabbed my phone with trembling hands. The screen showed 3:17 a.m. I pressed the home button trying to wake it up, but it was already on. The time didn't change. 3:17 a.m. The same time on the frozen clock on the wall. "No," I said. "No, this is wrong, this is." "Day 1 of your broadcast," Jennifer said, her voice gentle but firm. "Please state your name for the record. The next person needs to know who they're hearing from. It's only fair." I looked at the microphone in front of me, its red light glowing steadily. How long had that light been on? Had I ever actually turned it off? Or had I been broadcasting this entire time, my voice carrying across frequencies I couldn't comprehend, reaching into places I didn't understand? "My name is," I started, then stopped. Saying it out loud felt like accepting this as real, like giving up. "It's okay," Marcus's voice said, softer now, coming from a different speaker. "I remember what it's like in the beginning, the denial, the bargaining, but eventually you'll understand. Station 47.9 isn't a place or a frequency. It's a moment of curiosity, of connection, of reaching out into the dark and finding something reaching back. And once you're in that moment, you never really leave." I sank into the chair, my whole body feeling numb. Through the windows of the control booth, I could see the campus outside. But it looked different. Older, newer, both at once. I saw students walking across the quad in clothes from different decades. Cars from the 1980s parked next to modern vehicles. All of it layered, overlapping, existing simultaneously. "What year is it?" I asked, not sure I wanted the answer. "All of them," Jennifer replied. "None of them. Station 47.9 exists in the space between moments. You'll broadcast your warning here, and 7 years from now, or 7 years ago, depending on perspective, someone else will hear you. And maybe they'll be the one who figures out how to break free. Maybe they'll be the one who finally shuts this frequency down forever." "But none of them ever have," I said dully. "That's what you're saying. Everyone who hears the warning ends up here." "Not everyone," Marcus interjected. "Some people hear and actually manage to walk away. They exist out there in the normal world, occasionally wondering if it was real, probably dismissing it as a weird dream or a prank. Those are the lucky ones, the ones who don't let curiosity override caution." "So why am I here?" I demanded, feeling anger rise up to replace the fear. "Why couldn't I be one of the lucky ones?" "Because you asked questions," Jennifer said simply. "Because when you heard something impossible, your first instinct wasn't to run, it was to understand. That's what makes someone susceptible to station 47.9. Not fear, not superstition, but that deep, driving need to know, to understand, to solve the mystery. She was right. Even now, trapped in this impossible situation, part of my mind was trying to figure out the mechanics of it. How could a radio frequency trap consciousness? What kind of energy configuration could create a pocket outside normal time? The questions bubbled up despite everything, my engineering student brain unable to simply accept the supernatural without trying to rationalize it. "There it is," Marcus said, and I could hear the sad smile in his voice. "That spark of curiosity, that's what Station 47.9 feeds on. That's what keeps us broadcasting. We're not just trapped here, we're compelled to warn others, to explain, to share our stories. Because maybe if someone understands the mechanism well enough, they could." "Stop," I said suddenly. "You're doing it again, drawing me deeper, making me think about solutions and escape routes and scientific explanations. That's part of the trap too, isn't it?" Silence. Then Jennifer laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a storm. "You're quicker than most. It took me weeks to realize that. Yes, every answer leads to more questions. Every explanation opens new mysteries. Station 47.9 isn't just a trap, it's a maze, and the exit is hidden behind a door marked 'One More Question.'" I stood up, even though I wasn't sure my legs were really there anymore. "Then I won't ask, I won't engage, I'll just stop." "You can try," Marcus said. "We all tried, but eventually someone new will hear your broadcast. They'll ask you questions, and you'll answer because you'll want to help them avoid your fate. And in explaining, in warning, in teaching, you'll be doing exactly what Station 47.9 wants, spreading itself, growing, reaching new minds." I looked down at the mixing board, at the frozen time display, at my own increasingly translucent hands. "When does it end?" "That's the question, isn't it?" Jennifer said. "Some say never. Some think there's a cycle, a pattern, a way to break free if you just wait long enough. I've been here for 7 years, my 7 years anyway, and I haven't found it yet. But I keep broadcasting, keep warning, because what else is there to do?" I thought about my life outside this booth. My classes, my friends, my family. Were they real? Had any of it been real? Or was this endless moment, this perpetual broadcast, the only truth I'd ever really known? "Please state your name for the record," the station's automated voice said again, patient and inexorable. "All broadcasts must be properly identified according to FCC regulations." I laughed. It came out hollow and strange. FCC regulations, right, because that's what matters here. But I found myself leaning toward the microphone anyway, found my mouth opening, found words forming that I didn't consciously choose to speak. "My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm a junior at Westfield University, majoring in broadcast engineering. It's March 15th, 2024, and I'm transmitting from Station 47.9 FM, if you're hearing this message." I paused, a part of me still fighting, still resisting. "Then I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Because if you're hearing this, it means you've already started down the same path I did. And I need to tell you about the mistake I made, about the frequency that should have stayed silent, about the moment I realized that some mysteries are better left unsolved." "Good," Jennifer whispered. "That's good. Now you're part of us, part of the broadcast, part of Station 47.9. And somewhere, in a college radio station, in a time I could no longer quite place, a new engineer sat down for the graveyard shift, put on a pair of headphones, and began to hear interference on their frequency. The cycle continued. The station never sleeps. And Station 47.9 is always listening, always waiting, always broadcasting its warning to anyone curious enough to tune in. I've been speaking now for, how long? Days, years? Time doesn't register the same way anymore. But I know this, somewhere out there you're listening, and you're wondering if this is real. You're thinking about how you'd avoid my fate. You're already asking the questions that will eventually bring you here. Don't tune to 47.9. But I know you will. They always do.